What's up, folks? Johnny Lee Reinoso here with Don't Admire, Acquire. I hope you're doing well. Look, have you ever eaten at a restaurant where the food was so good, the experience and the service was beyond expected, that you had to tell everybody about it? Have you ever read a book where the content that you consumed was the same, where you had to share it with others? Well, that happened to me over the holiday break. Okay, so in today's video, rather than share with you best practices, strategies, and sales training that I like to bring for you to implement, I'm going to share with you 10 key business principles that will help you achieve greatness if you adopt them and make them your own today. Let's get started.
I'm Johnny Lee Reinoso, and this is Don't Admire, Acquire.
First, the title of the book. Your Next 5 Moves, okay? Now, let me give a shout out to the author. Your Next 5 Moves, written by Patrick Bet-David, PBD, also known as PBD. Founder and CEO of PHP Agency, fantastic financial service professional. Now, you could look him up, you check out his YouTube channel, he's got millions of followers, Instagram, all of the platforms, okay? The guy is a legend. He's a phenomenal entrepreneur, a fantastic strategist, just a very solid professional. I don't know him personally, but I have been able to communicate with him a little bit, okay? But the purpose of this is he doesn't know me on a personal level as well. And when I ordered a few books, because I enjoyed what I read initially, so I quickly ordered a few more books to give to some of my team members that I wanted them to read over the holiday. I got a book that was a little scratched, a little dirty from Amazon. Now, it wasn't the first time I got something from Amazon that was a little off. But in this case, I said, you know what, let me shoot this guy an email, the author, just to say, hey, picked up a couple more of your books. So far, I'm reading it. I enjoy it. Just want to let you know, Amazon, how they sometimes treat other people's material. That happened to myself because I also have a book, and I've gotten the same kind of emails from folks. That being said, he immediately replied back, or his office did, but the awesome thing is the customer service, okay? So just a true professional. He didn't need to do this. He sent me a beautiful copy, okay, directly from his office, and he signs it with a little note. Johnny Lee, I learned your last order with Amazon had some issues. Here's a signed copy. Patrick Bet-David, December 15th, 2020. What's the point? The point is this gentleman, this professional, not only is he articulating and preaching extreme value for entrepreneurs and business owners, but he lives it on a day-by-day basis. And because of that and how he treated me as a consumer, and more importantly, all of the just as important rather, all of the wonderful content that I was able to consume from this book, I had to share it with you. Okay? Now you're probably thinking, oh, Johnny, you probably get some spiffies from this book. He's probably hooking you up. Are you getting some kind of back-end deal? Are you an influencer? Absolutely not. At the end of this, I will not put a link for his book. You could Google it yourself. But I will list, because my writing is not good, what he puts in his book as the key business principles. He calls it my business principles. Okay? So I'm going to get into it right now. Fantastic principles. I need you to think about it as I go through it. I internalize it myself. I love what he shares here, and I think it's so important for you, especially as we kick off 2021, that you need to listen to this very closely. Point number 1, principle number 1, never compromise your non-negotiables. Folks, no matter what goes on, you must list, as you kick off this year, you must list your non-negotiables. We just went through, and we still are in a pandemic. There are a lot of experiences that I'm sure you've had throughout this pandemic that you didn't have before. Whether it's more time with your family, your loved ones, whether it's going for those long walks, whether it's exercising a little more. See what it is that you truly enjoyed. Create 2 lists. The list that you used to do before the pandemic of things that you always did, whether it's get up, go to work, travel a lot, for work, come home, okay? Maybe a few weekend ball games with the kids or who knows what. And then you're back at it again, traveling a lot, going... Create what you did before, the list before the pandemic, the list during the pandemic, and identify what are your non-negotiables. That's a great way to look at it. Meaning, what did you learn during the pandemic that you loved so much? And what did you do before the pandemic that you didn't like a lot of? And start to curtail what you didn't like a lot of and make some changes so that you can do what it is that you fell in love with during the pandemic and make that a non-negotiable. That's just one example. There's other ways of looking at non-negotiables, right? Ethics, morals, you don't want to go against that, right? Going against what it is that you're looking to do as an organization, right? Trending in the direction, investing in your people, investing in yourself, right? So list your non-negotiables and be firm by never compromise on them, okay? Principle number 2. Micromanage until there is trust. Okay, that is very important from an experienced entrepreneur myself who has a business and have staff. I have sales people, I have operational people, I have financial people, right, that are employees. A lot of times I extend a level of trust just because now they're wearing the banner on their shirt that might say my company logo. Like I assume they're part of the team and they're going to do everything that they can that's right. I do like to presume positive intent or assume positive intent. I like to believe that everybody comes to work to do a good job, but don't forget, just because they want to do a good job doesn't mean they know how to do a good job. So a lot of times there has to be enough training, development, and support involved. So make sure with your team, for those of you who are entrepreneurs or sales leaders and running a team, if you're managing people, make sure when you begin to offset responsibilities that you've managed it enough to the point where there is solid trust. Because you don't want there to be a little gap that derails your business, okay? Especially in today's space we're here with this pandemic still, there's no room for loss. You have to be on point. Okay? Principle number three, no one has 100% job security, including the CEO or founder. It's absolutely true. Okay? For those of you who know me, know I am a sales trainer, okay? But as well as a business coach and strategist, I work with people. And a lot of times when I'm working with these CEOs, they always have this, especially in the beginning stages of our encounter, they have this overconfident tone sometimes to themselves, many a times, where they feel like they're not at jeopardy of losing anything. You know, if revenue decreases, I'll fire Steve, I'll fire Lucy, I'll get rid of Tom, as if like they could just manage their P&L to a point where they're still making their living as they need to. Don't forget that all it takes is an employee to do something horrendous to probably derail your business. It probably takes one of your sales guys to mistreat a customer, maybe the customer that is 60% of your revenue, to completely derail, like I said, or bankrupt your business. Okay? Remember, if you own your own business, your employees are your customers, they could fire you. Because if they decide never to follow you and to trust in you, then you don't have a company. Okay? Your clients also are critically important in order for you to succeed. They're the lifeline, they're the heartbeat of your business as well. Because they're the revenue stream, it's the blood flow to help you and to keep you alive. There's no job security there, folks. There is no job security, okay? So that's why you have to constantly look. Not only that, what about your competitor? Your competitor's constantly looking and waiting for you to see when you're sleeping so they can, boom, come in and take over your space, take your client over, undercut you. It's a brutal business out there. Being an entrepreneur and self-employed is brutal. You're constantly at war. You have bullets coming at you from all different angles. Disgruntled employees, attorneys, clients suing you, this client disgruntled because of that employee, competitors coming at you saying you're infringing in their IP, who the hell knows? Folks, you have to be 100% focused on innovation, creativity, and strategy so that you can keep some level of security, but you never have 100% of job security. Okay, let's move on. Point number 4, create positive peer pressure by challenging one another. It's important that in the culture of your organization, you're constantly challenging. What PBD talks about here is challenging your peers, challenging your circle, challenging that circle of influence that you surround yourself with. Challenge them in their business, they should challenge you in yours in a positive fashion. Okay? But when you challenge each other, you're elevating each other. You're not putting each other down. Oh, you didn't hit your goal. You suck. No, hey, come on, man. You didn't hit your goal. Tell me a little bit about it. What happened? Have those discussions with your folks, with your peer, with your circle, and allows you to create that positive peer pressure. If they're excelling and exceeding their goals, now you feel that challenge going, hey, wait a minute. Come on, let's go, right? Again, principle is create positive peer pressure by challenging one another. Principle number 5, beat your prior best. You have to beat your prior best. That goes without being said. You have to beat your prior best. And that doesn't mean time frame year over year. When I hear this, when PBD talks about this, in my opinion, and what I think about this and beat your prior best is beat your today yesterday. Be a better today than you were yesterday. Be a better friend today. Be a better husband today. Be a better father today. Be a better leader today. Be a better boss today. Be a better colleague today. Be a better service provider today, okay? So you want to beat your prior best, and that's in everything that we do in life. And I'm talking about from this morning to today to right now, from right now to tomorrow, from yesterday to today. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about from a financial aspect. I'm talking about from a holistic approach, from all angles, if you will, okay? Now, principle number 6, treat the company's money like it's your own. Well, I'm the CEO and founder, so it's easy for me to say that. 100% my staff feels the same exact way. We talk about this all the time, okay? When we make investments, we need to think about why. What's the return on investment? What's the reason why we're doing this? Are we outdated? Are there other options? What are other solutions? What have we looked at for other opportunities? This is critical when you're spending money, especially in 2021 when cash is king, okay? Working capital is absolutely a must. And managing it right and understanding your burn rate is important. If you don't know what that is, there's enough tutorials out there. Do your research. You have to manage your numbers so that you can survive and be here in 2022, 23, and on, okay? So when you're spending the money, spend it like it's coming out of your own cash pocket rather than just some mysterious bank account that you think has just an enormous amount of dough that you could just keep spending, okay? And those are for you middle managers and leaders that have the ability to write checks, as well as CEOs that are out there that own their own company that are writing out checks. Be careful, be smart, be frugal, and be right. Now, number 7, be radically open-minded but not easily persuaded. I love that. That is probably one of the top 1 or 2 for me. Actually, probably the second one for me. I got another one that's really good. And why? Because personally, I come from a place where I feel like, I want to know, I want to understand, to be honest here and to be very clear and to be very vulnerable here and humble. I used to always approach things where I feel like if it didn't come from me and if it didn't start with me, then it's not going to be good enough, okay? I had to learn. I'm vulnerable right now. I'm sorry. That's the truth. Shame on me, right? But as I grew and progressed, as I self-educated myself, right, and I read more and more books, what happened? I came to understand that, you know what? Other people have great insight and intelligence and experience, and there could be fantastic opportunities for us to improve in many areas, in speed and efficiency and execution, for instance, when it comes to an organization, and could save us a ton of money and make us a ton of money, right? So I learned to be radically open-minded. The idea is not stupid. There is no idea that anybody could present to me in any of my meetings that is stupid. But there is always going to be a challenge with every idea or every suggestion. And everybody expects that in all meetings. If we don't disagree, there's no point in meeting. If we do not disagree, there's no point in meeting. Because either the person presenting is running a dictatorship and we're just standing there going like this, or nobody cares about the business enough to challenge whoever it is or whoever they are that's presenting this idea or this investment or this reason, okay? So it's critical that we're radically open-minded. Oh, that's pretty interesting, okay. But be careful being easily persuaded, okay? Now, principle number 8, fight any temptation to lower your expectations and standards. Folks, that's in business and in life. Please fight against the temptation to lower your standards and your expectations. Please. You're probably already thinking that the 25 pounds lost by the end of January is not going to happen, and maybe you're right because your expectations were off. But you need to make sure that you don't give up on the goal. You just have to change your course, okay? Don't lower your standards. Just look at how you're going about achieving what it is that you want to achieve. Don't lower your expectations. Don't. It's the cancer of your goals, of your drive, of your success, of your full potential. Okay? If you want to kill your full potential, you start to fall into the level of complacency and thinking that it's not possible. And then you lower your standards. Okay? I made 100 grand last year. Well, I want to make 200 grand this year. And all of a sudden you see that it's March 2021 or April or June 2021 and you see that you only made, 60 grand. You might make 120 and not 200. And you had all the capability and ability and product and service and everything to sell and make 200, but you don't. And you sit there and go, well, at least I'm making 20 grand more than I did last year. Well, at least I'm making more than my cousins, Frank, and I'm making more than my buddy Steve, and I'm making more than my wife, or at least I'm just giving you an example here, folks. But my point is that don't start to find reasons why how you're trending is still okay. Fight against that temptation of lowering your standards and believe that it's possible. Okay, now, principle number 9. Create an environment where your team is taken care of financially and professional. Business owners, entrepreneurs, sales leaders, sales managers. You need to make sure that you're working closely with your executive committee, with your team who are putting together these compensation package, and recognize that reward and recognition is critical. Okay? Not only is a handshake, a pat on the back, a plaque, and a hug, and saying thank you, if you could hug in the environment we're in today still with the pandemic. But my point is that the recognition, okay, human to human, is critical. But the financial reward as well to follow is important. Take care of your team. I can't tell you how many organizations that I consulted over the course of the last 2 years where when looking at the compensation structure, the sales team, their bonus and commission structure rather, was set up to be about 10 to maybe 15, if at all 20% of the overall compensation for the year. If you're truly in sales and you're truly architecting the sales, the compensation plan right, okay, your bonus and commission should be 50, 60, 70% of your year-end earnings, okay? You need to be able to make those big checks and know that it's possible. And if they're not in sales and you're talking about your operational team and other support functions that just make a salary and maybe a little bit of bonus or whatnot, you need to make sure that you're treating them right. Talent is extremely hard to find. Trust is hard to build. If you have trust and they have the ability to be successful in your organization, treat them right. Last but not least, principle number 10. What brought you to this point, says PBD, what brought you to this point won't take you to the next level. Do you agree? Absolutely you do, and I do as well, 100%. I love that quote. I love that quote. Albeit we hear a lot of, well, if you do the same thing and expect different result, it's insanity. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, you're right. But here's another way to look at it. What brought you here, where you are today, will not take you to the next level, okay? If you have 10 clients and you're generating $1 million in revenue with these 10 clients, and you expect to have the 10 clients in Q2, Q3, and Q4 and do 1.5 million, that's not going to happen. You're going to need to get 4 or 5 more clients, which means you might need to go and hire 3 or 4 more salespeople and operational people and delivery people, which might mean you need to invest more in training and development, which might mean you need to invest more in human capital, which might mean that you need to invest more in R&D, which might mean, my point is that you need to reinvent yourself constantly. I have to be a different person today and this year in order for me to accomplish what I need to accomplish this year. Not just for myself, but for my staff, for my company, for my community, and for my future. Folks, it's critical that you understand this point number 10. If you read the book, because you're going to get the book, you're going to see that this point number 10 is probably number 3 in the book, but I decided to bring it down to the bottom because I love it so much, and I think it's the biggest banger here. And PBD, just a shout out to you. Thank you so much for putting this book together, for these 10 principles. I appreciate you, and I look forward to consuming more content. And for those of you who are tuning in, please like the video below, share this with others in your community, check out my YouTube channel. I have a variety of different videos that's bringing to you relevant sales strategy, okay, key sales strategies and trainings that'll help you in today's business environment. Cheers, and thank you for stopping by.